We don't have much coming out next week, so I guess we could do GJ or we could do gold.
Okay.
Which one do you prefer?
Up to you. Here, I'll flip a coin.
All right. Heads will do GJ, tails will do gold.
Okay. It's GJ.
All right, let's do it.
I honestly didn't care either way. What's up, Tiff? How are you? Now we got. It's coming in a little muffled. We have P856523. It looks like Elon Musk. His son is in here. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, so we'll do GJ. I want to not waste as much time as possible, so I just want to get it kind of started here. We will do a random date.
Perfecto.
Let's pull it up.
And we are live on YouTube, so I'll post about that meanwhile.
Awesome. What's up, YouTube? Anybody in there yet?
Not yet, just got started.
You know what? I have my iPad here, so let me just as well pull up YouTube so I get the comments and stuff. I was just gonna ask you. Oh, can you hear my AC behind me?
No, I can't.
Okay, cool.
What's up? How's it going?
Stephanos. What's up, man? Who is that? You know?
I don't. You guys want to put in the chat who that is? P8565. I've seen it a lot. I just can't remember.
I was just watching the Elon Musk interview with, do you know, like the Nelk Boys? Do you know who that is? Show me there.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what happened.
Oh, it's okay. I'm going to turn off the waiting room. I was just watching or listening to it on the way back home from the city. You know the Nelk Boys? Do you know who that is?
No.
They coined the term like full send.
Oh, yes.
Those kids. They interviewed Elon Musk, and it's like a 3-hour interview. But I was just listening to the first half, and it's dude, Elon Musk's laugh is the funniest thing I've ever heard. It's so funny. And he laughs at the most like awkward moment, like things that aren't even that funny. It's just pretty good. So we can what do you think? You want to do 2022 or do you want to go back a year or two?
Any random date.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to. Okay, so we'll go 2022. We'll go January 1st to December 31st, 20. This I meant to do 2020. I would say 2021. Total of 20 dates. Do this only Sundays. All right, so I'm going to close my eyes and just kind of do this. Okay. November 27th, 2022. So I guess, do you want to do the end of November or do you want to do like the beginning of December? Like the next. Actually, I don't want to do December. I'm going to do one more. Just like very rangy. All right. So, September 12th, 2021.
Perfect. Let's do that.
All right. Nice and quick. September 12th. Awesome. Nice, like mid to beginning of the month. What are you thinking, currency wise? Starting balance?
Let's do 1,000.
1,000? Okay.
Yeah. I like doing the smaller ones because then it also motivates people, on proper risk management.
Absolutely.
And I feel like around $500 to $1,000 is what most people can afford to get started with, anyways.
Yep. And they can easily grow that. Start sending. Okay. I think we're good. Yeah. don't know what was going on with my simulator last time. Oh, that's right. I didn't have the data for US 30. Before we get started, while I'm doing all this, anybody have questions on YouTube or anybody on Zoom? I think everyone's good on Zoom.
I had to restart the YouTube again right now.
Okay.
But yeah, we're good to go. We're live.
Yeah, it's kind of cut off a little bit.
It's cut off from the top, so they don't see like the numbers and stuff up top. Are you on the new one?
I'm trying to find a new one. It's just, oh, you're at 904 subscribers. Shit.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Man, Preet is on here. What's up, man? Okay, 4 hour, 1 hour.
How's it going, everybody?
Hope everyone's doing well.
Hope you guys had a great week. You were able to end off in the blues.
Did anybody struggle with anything this week? Or is anybody like looking to experiment with certain things? Maybe not so much like strategy hop or anything like that, but more so like maybe holding trades or cutting losses short, and you want to focus on that. The more questions you guys ask, the more we can talk and give you guys answers.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult to just come up with just random things to talk about and fill space.
One thing for sure that I really want to place an emphasis on in today's simulation session, and we'll go more in depth with it in the boot camp, but it's the candle anatomy and how do you use it across different time frames.
Yep. Yeah, I put special emphasis on that when I'm trading and whenever we're putting together a trading plan and we're going over the entry of what you're looking for when it comes to the entry. One emphasis I always put on it is make sure you're studying the candles and wicks before you enter a trade. Make that one of your, part of that checklist that you do before you actually enter a trade. Go over like the previous candles, not just like, oh, okay, I see them and that's it. It's more so like, okay, this candle's doing this. No, we'll be doing it during this session, but just put more of an emphasis on it and also talk it out, especially if you're not running a live stream or you're not with a bunch of people in the same room or anything like that. Make sure you're speaking it out to yourself, and that's going to help you a lot.
For sure. For sure.
All right. It is 6:34, so I guess we'll give it one more minute, and then we'll start breaking everything down.
Yeah, for sure. If anybody has any questions, again, just let us know. If there's anything particular that you're struggling with that you want to go over, more than happy to do that.
See, whenever we do the live streams, and I'm streaming from my computer, the highest capability I can view my video on YouTube, like my live streams, is 720. P 720p. So do you know how to like raise that?
No, even mine's 720.
I gotta look that up. We'll post it because I've always wondered that because I've been seeing the last few months people can stream or post videos with like 244 or 2044. I don't know, 2400p.
Yeah.
Which is like how?
I have no idea. Honestly, I try to play around with it in the Streamlabs, but I'm not really sure how to do it either.
On YouTube. Because I have a 4K monitor. I don't know if that means anything, but I figured like the tower, all the memory that you have on your computer, I don't know. But it's worth a shot. So I'll look that up. All right, so we got 5 people. Did something happen with YouTube again?
No.
All right, we're good. All right. You want to start breaking this down?
Yeah, let's get started. So I was very quick thing before we get started again is that we like to make it interactive. So, I mean, obviously, we're going to break down the charts for you guys. We're going to show you, different multiple time frame confluence and things like that. But if you guys have any questions, just feel free to put into the chat anytime. And the biggest thing also is feel free to take trades with us. If we see something a little bit differently, we'll let you know. If you see something differently, then let us know too. It's like a really good conversation. That's kind of how you learn, bouncing ideas off each other. But don't be shy to take trades with us, right? Even on YouTube, if you want to take a trade with us, just put down, hey, I want to take a trade, and then in the same message, put down entry here or entry after the next 15-minute candle, wherever you want to take the entry, with your TP and your stop loss levels. I'm not sure if you guys can see the price. If you're not able to see the price, then let us know. But you could also use like the candle anatomy, like previous 30-minute low or 15-minute low. That's where I would place my stop loss, anything like that. But feel free to take trades with us.
Yep, absolutely. And then visitor, I'm not too sure who you are, but I'll answer that, and like we'll go over some FOMO stuff in a little bit. I'm sure we're going to come to an opportunity in the market here where there might be a trade that we may need to stick out of or stay out of, and some FOMO could come up. So that might be a good example to start talking about that. But I just want to break down the charts and start playing this, and we'll see. We'll see when we can bridge that answer. I'm just gonna fast forward an hour here. So this is gonna be Sunday open. Do you want to go to Monday, or do you want to start with Sunday open? And we'll kind of just breeze through it.
I don't think it really matters. We could just do Monday when the market opens up. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna go to.
So you guys should be able to see the prices on YouTube on the right side. If you're not, let me know.
I should be able to see that. Yeah, might be a little difficult, but it should be fine. All right. So, GJ, okay, no questions yet. So, GJ, as you guys know, at this point, this is basically end. Around the fourth quarter, getting up to the fourth quarter of, or it is the fourth quarter of 2021. So pretty much mid-September here. This is a Monday, right in September. Right now, the last few months, we already did come up and reach these previous yearly highs of 156 over here. So I'm just going to mark that level off.
Your sound muffled out a little bit, Stephanos.
I did it?
Yeah.
Do you not hear that anymore?
No, I hear you, but it sounds like you're kind of far away from the mic.
Let's check this. Hello.
Sounds good.
That sounds good?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so 156, we're going to mark off previous resistance here to the left. We had some, and this is what we're talking about with understanding candle body anatomy. Since COVID of 2020, March and April, we pushed all the way down to that 125 level where we ended up bouncing off, never broke the low from the 2008 market crash. And if you guys trade with us, you guys know what we're talking about, where we always break down those higher time frame levels on GJ. But we never broke that area, and ever since then, we've been printing higher lows and higher highs, right? Just you see these higher lows being formed over here. And then we pushed, what was that? About almost 7 consecutive months here. You got 5 here, and then 1 bearish month, 1 little retracement. But then we pushed up with a very strong bullish candle closing right around that 156 level here, right? Ever since then, we got a following bearish candle with a wick to fill. Got a top wick on that candle, flip bearish, past the low of that candle, but closed above the previous support that was held right here. This candle did as well. So far, this candle has a small bottom wick, but it also has a top wick where possibly can we continue down here, right, to fill some of these wicks where this candle creates that top wick, flips bearish, and fills this one coming back down to candle body highs over here to the left, which we can mark off as, you guys know, is a strong level of 149.
I would definitely mark off that level. Another thing is that you could tell there's liquidity there, real quick. because look at all the wick rejections. You pretty much come right into this area. I would, personally, I would create like a zone here where price taps into this area multiple times, and that's exactly what we rejected off of, but we did come back to revisit it at this point, right? Rejected off of that, came back, revisited. So is this potentially an area that price needs to come back to grab some more volume? And that would also be a corrective move of this entire bullish push up.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's clone that. All right, so it should be good. And obviously 156, you can always do something similar up here as well.
Yeah, and then one other zone, I don't know, Stefanos, if you were gonna mark that off, but one other zone that I would mark off would be right into the support. So then if this candle flips bearish, then you know that you got those sells coming back down to kind of fill all these wicks right here. But if price, continues above this, then we can look for potential buy opportunity. So I would mark off this area right here for any buys, and then any sells would be below this zone.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yep, great point.
And that's how I would narrow in my zones already, starting from the monthly time frame.
Yep.
Right at this level.
Yeah, so far, obviously, you got that. And this is where, again, breaking down the candle bodies, you got a rejection. You got to close above this level, previous resistance, right? This candle comes down, perfectly retest it. It comes back into this range and then closes above that level. This candle doesn't even tap into that area, just holds support and pushes up from that area, right? And then the following candles came down into that area, but rejected again over here. You guys can see my mouse, right?
Yeah.
Rejected here, and then this candle closed above as well. So obviously that's a very strong level. So it's a good point. So that's pretty good for the monthly. Moving into the weekly now, I'm just going to scale this. And then the weekly is holding a nice bullish trend right over here, and also bouncing off a very key level since the lows of COVID. We've been making higher lows and higher highs from that area, and now we're bouncing off that key area of the previous resistance here, and now creating that, holding that support and continuing up. So I'm just going to adjust that a little bit to where it looks a little bit better right there. What's up, Miles?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man. All right, let's go. I'm just going to scale this real quick, and then we'll break this one down. All right, awesome. Okay, so looking over here, since tapping into 156, we've been printing lower highs, pushing all the way down into these areas over here. So can we be coming down and tapping into this key area over here and then continuing back down? Or was this a very strong push off a key level of 149, that 149 level here, pushing up from that level, possibly coming down into this area and then holding support and continuing back up from here, right? But right now, you have 4 consecutive weekly, pretty much a month of bullish candles here, and price is now pushing up. But the only thing is, this previous previous weekly candle kind of closed like a doji candle, right? It couldn't figure out where it wants to go. But can we push up from this area, or is now we're creating a top wick here and then flipping bearish to possibly retest that 150, 800 level? I'm just going to adjust that right in here because that's where you get that support right there. I could possibly move that up just a little bit, and then we'll see what it looks like on a lower time frame. Any questions so far?
Nothing yet.
All right, cool. Okay.
Did you guys just start recently?
Yeah, we literally just started breaking everything down.
Okay, sweet.
We hopped on around like 6:20 just to kind of catch up and get everything set. And now you came in at the perfect time.
All right, sweet.
All right. So again, same story on the daily. You got those lower highs being formed. Just gonna make that give us some space. Lower highs being formed, right? Perfectly. We're now tapping into a key level, and we're also holding a support right in here. So now I'm actually just going to adjust this support right here. It's a nice liquidity area where price, you ended up studying these candles here. previous resistance, support right over here, support, many rejections off that level, right? But we ended up getting a wick over here to fill, but closed below it. But then we ended up filling that candle or filling that wick with a strong bullish candle. After that, you get some weak bearish candles, a couple weak bullish candles as well, coming back down into that level and holding support with a strong bullish candle with a wick to fill. This candle right here, obviously the week just opened. This is Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it looked like we kind of like gapped down over here and opened down in this area. Can we continue to push up and fill that wick? The only thing is we keep closing below this level. We keep rejecting that level, and this is a key area. So maybe we should, actually not maybe, but we're going to mark this off here. We could drag that to the left as well, previous support. And as you can see right here, history repeats itself. You got kind of the same situation in this area where you got that bullish candle close with a wick to fill. This candle created its bottom wick past the high and just took off that that day, right? And ever since then, that's where we took off to 156. So if we can breach this level, I could see us coming up to 153, 100.
Yep. And if you extend that over to the left, that's another area of liquidity. Can anyone tell us why? What's happening at that zone?
Getting a lot of rejections and resistances formed.
Right. And then how do you know that's an area of liquidity? I'll highlight 3 spots. Oh, yeah, there you go, Stephanos.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I beat you.
That's one.
Okay.
How are these areas telling
volume.
you? Yep, the volume. Perfect.
Absolutely. So price wants to come up into that area. That's where banks are taking price, and then boom, we could get a nice rejection from that area. Or at least if we're breaking this trend over here, we get some strong closes above that area coming into the area. Maybe we come back down to this point. Somehow we hold support, and then we continue back up from there.
Absolutely.
All right. So many things could happen. You don't marry your bias. Let me just make sure we're cloning all this. We'll go right down to the 4-hour. Nice simple breakdowns. All right. So it looks like we already got some kind of a fake out of that area as well, right? Strong rejections of this area. Finally broke through. Strong bullish candle close above here. Looks like we're coming down to retest, but no, we come back down into this area to hold support. Right now we're holding support, but to hold that resistance again with this bearish candle close, but then it followed with a very strong bullish close. Indecision, but it was a strong close. Is this candle creating a bottom wick to pass the high of that one and continue up? Because as you can see, again, you have that resistance, but you also have higher lows being formed in this area.
Yep.
Since tapping into 149. So we tap 149. There's previous candle bodies to the left on the monthly. So obviously it's a significant level. Price bouncing off of it, and we're just slowly working our way up. As you can see, it's kind of choppy with these long wicks and small bodies. So the same thing over here, right? It's just very choppy. You want to wait for candle closes, but once we close above this area on the lower time frames here, right? Where's our next target? Anybody know?
The previous highs that price made.
Yep. I'm just seeing if anybody wanted to volunteer.
Yep.
So we got right there our most recent resistance, right? That's all you need to worry about. If you can drag it to the left, great, right? But I think a lot of people get too caught up with what's to the left over here, which is obviously important, but they don't pay too much attention to what's more recent. And this is our more recent resistance. And this is the range that you want to be in. Because you got about 32 pips, which is all right, right? But if we could break that area and possibly leave a runner, you could take price right back up to that that area of like 153, 200 area for about 100 pips.
100%. Another important thing to note here is that price is breaking out of a 4-hour consolidation. So you need to wait, absolutely wait for price to give you strong rejections, but also give you strong support or resistance levels that are going to be made prior to you looking for an entry. So an impulse trade necessarily won't work here unless there's news coming out, like high impact news, CPI, interest rates, PPI, NFP, those kind of things. But if it's any low impact news, then you definitely want to wait for a break and retest.
100%. All right, 1 hour. Now it's getting a little bit more crowded, more noisy. So now we can move this up a little bit over here on the 1 hour. I mean, honestly, the real 1 hour resistance, you want to wait for a close above this level because you start seeing all these rejections over here, right? You got that rejection right there. Obviously, a few over here to the left as well. But obviously, like the main thing is you can really make it like that. And you really want to start clearing that level, especially with this current price action the way it is. I want to see at least, there we go. Price really like pushing out of it. It looks like we're holding this higher low, right? Looks like we're holding that support to continue up. But you just got to be aware of these areas. And like Sharma said, you need some nice volume to push us through this whole area right here.
Yeah. One thing that I would personally do differently here than you, Stephanos, is that I would still keep my zone. Yeah, exactly like that. And I would instead use these areas as more like scalp partials.
Okay. So
and then and then let everything else run.
I like the thought of like the fact that we're creating these higher lows. Let me see. Never copied over. Here we go. The 1 hour, like we keep respecting these higher lows over here. And right now the current price action is holding a strong support with these candles right here, bottom wicks formed, filling the previous wicks and continuing up. So if we could get some volume to start off our week, maybe we could push through here.
100%.
And I can see why it gets tricky for some of you guys. Like when you start seeing stuff like this, you get antsy, especially like if you guys put in a lot of work on the weekend, which is what you want to do, obviously. But when you come to the markets on a Monday and you start to see this price action, you kind of like get antsy and want to just jump into a trade right away, right? Especially if you've been back testing like all weekend, just putting in a lot of work. It's very susceptible for you to start just jumping into trades over here. But we'll see how we end up over here. Let's see, 1%. Visual mode. Okay, we should be good here. So now we're breaking up. 6 a.m. just opened up. That's the 1 hour. See, the 30 minutes shouldn't look much different. All right, looks like again you start to see the rejections here in the 30-minute, multiple rejections here. So we need to close above this level before we take anything up. So visitor, the struggle with feelings of FOMO this week. What was going on exactly? What were you was it trades that you were missing at the time? Like you were already at the charts and you were just letting these trades pass by and they were like fitting your rules, like you should have been in them? Were you away from the charts and not paying attention? And you know, these trades are fitting your trading plan and you're just not taking them because you're not paying attention. Or are they just trades that you're missing out on, that these aren't setups that you normally take and you're just letting them go by, which is what you should do right now. And you're maybe just live back testing them and learning from them, but still getting FOMO, which is understandable. There could be other scenarios too, but there are a couple. Just going to speed this up just a little bit.
While we're waiting on that answer, what I would do, given that this was a 4-hour consolidation, hourly consolidation, I would really keep the focus on, personally, the way that I would trade, keep the focus on the hourly and see if we can see any confirmations from that time frame, just to avoid any further fake outs, like we have like twice in the past.
Yep. Yeah, we have them right here.
And those two, yeah.
Yep. So let's see. So for me, what I'd be looking for is a rejection of that level. Right, price pushed up, no bottom wick over here, and just pushed up. So there's not many ways that you could get that unless you just enter after that candle closed with a stop loss below it. But what I would look for is a rejection of this area and then get the retest right here. And if price holds a nice strong retest, maybe you could take price up from there, but we'll see. Did we check the news? I think Sharma did, right?
I did it for next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, we don't have much high impact coming out besides the CPI, which is I think the following day.
CPI is tomorrow.
Yeah.
To put like 50, and usually put like 80 here. If you have a high volume week, then you get a lot of data points coming out. So CPI tomorrow, Chinese retail sales. You have Great Britain CPI over here. So that'll be important for Wednesday, right? 15th. Yeah, that'll be you got CPI coming out on Wednesday. So they're expecting higher than normal. Obviously, this is 2021, September 2021. So you were getting signs of inflation really coming in last year. Not as much as right now, obviously, but that's when it was really starting. I would say mid 2020.
Absolutely. Can we drop down to the 30-minute real quick since we're about to have a 30-minute close?
Yep.
All right. You want to clone the 1 hour zone on here?
Yep.
Okay, so we tap right into that rejection area where we've had fake outs before, and then rejected that, and we're pulling right back into the zone. And another thing to notice about this candle, the one that just closed, is that there was no bottom wick rejection. So that was a ton of bullish pressure that just then got rejected into the zone. So this gives me further confirmation that I need to wait for some sort of retracement or like a break and retest, or else there's a very high chance we could just end up faking out here again.
Absolutely.
What's up, guys? I'm finally able to speak.
There he is.
Yo.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Who was that?
Pat,
That's Pat.
Oh shit! What's up, man?
I'm good, brother.
Long
Didn't you see
time
the
no talk.
message? Didn't you see the message?
No, which message?
I answered. You guys asked who's
Oh,
this?
Pat here. Oh man, I mean, dude, I know so many Pats in my personal life, and people that reach out to me on Instagram. So my bad,
Don't
man.
lie,
I forgot
Stephanos.
you were in
There's
Sharma's group.
There's only one, bro. There's only one. There's only me.
There you go. Knew I heard that South African accent.
How you doing, man?
Good, man. I don't know if you were in the chat at the time, but I was telling Sharma I was listening to the Elon Musk it's like this podcast he was just on. It was actually pretty funny. But you guys have very similar accents. I think I've told you that before.
Yeah. You always have.
Yeah.
You always have. It's a big one. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah, no, it's nothing bad about that.
thanks,
Yeah.
Stephanos. You can
What?
do with that.
I like this setup here. The only thing is you got these rejections, but I wish we had this on like the 30-minute and this wasn't so close, right?
Yeah.
But we ended up getting the high created. We come down to hold support. It's the 15-minute time frame, so it's a weak time frame. But you got that 15-minute close of the wick to fill. This candle's respecting the low so far, past the high. And again, keep in mind you got what was it? CPI coming out for Great Britain in the next few days. So just be calm on this Monday, right? Treat the simulator like a real life account. You're trying to grow this account like your real account. If you're treating it any differently, you're doing yourself a disservice. So just treat these weeks like real weeks and see how you end up at the end of the week. No rewinding, no canceling out bad trades that you took, no taking trades just because you're on a simulator and you just want to experiment. Treat it like a real account.
100%.
And now
Sorry,
you can.
guys.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say like you can experiment on here because it is a simulator, but like just like the real live market, you got to lower your risk, lower it to 0.5%, 1%, and see how it works out. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, no, I was just going to come in and say, you guys were asking if there's anything we struggled with. VJ, actually, but both of you were asking if there's anything we struggled with this past week. So for me in particular, I've been finding it a bit overwhelming and frustrating, just trying to balance all the information from the fundamental side and applying it to the trading side. Like even just now, Stephanos, you were saying like, well, we have CPI in London coming out, and it's almost like being able to balance that and still getting the grip of all this fundamentals, and then incorporating it into our trading. It's like a few levels, of data processing that, I wasn't used to when it was just purely technical. So that's something that I'm finding that, I think it's a struggle, and it's making me take less trades because I'm starting to like second guess myself and like over analyze and whatnot. So yeah, thought I'll share.
I think what's really helped me when it comes down to, the confluence of technical analysis and fundamental analysis is really thinking about like as an investor, right? And what you're really playing with here is the market sentiment and how traders are perceiving this information. So when CPI comes out, for example, a lot of traders, they're going to perceive it a little bit differently than I do. I mean, we could come to the comment understanding that, inflation in today's time is not a good thing, right? It's something that a lot of people are worrying about and things like that, but also understanding that, in what situations do we need CPI and versus in what situations do we not need CPI increasing? You know what I mean? So a lot of it is just playing off the market sentiment. So as an investor, usually if you're thinking about something, the chances are that millions of other people are probably thinking the same thing. So you have to be able to kind of compartmentalize thinking as a consumer, which you have to, because then that's what's going to give you a good understanding of the market sentiment. So thinking as a consumer and then also thinking as an investor. So then if I'm thinking this way as a consumer, it's affecting me this way, how can I capitalize the same thing, but as an investor, right?
Okay.
So if as a consumer, CPI comes out high, right? And we know that, we pretty much had economy locking down, things are getting more expensive, global supply chain issues, all these other macro fundamentals. As a consumer, it kind of scares you, right? Because you're thinking that now things are getting more expensive for me. And if I don't have a job that kind of sustains that sort of lifestyle, even necessities, which is, sad, but true for a lot of people, where many of their jobs, whatever, if they're working 2 jobs or 3 jobs, they're still not able to make ends meet. So if that's you, right? Or however your situation is, if you're kind of scared about that, then as an investor, how do you capitalize that? What does that essentially mean? And every time there is any sort of market fear, there's always opportunities that are lining up at the same time. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I was trying to interpret what Pat was trying to say. Were you saying like sentiment lining up with economic data actually coming out and trying to like differentiate it too?
Not really. It's just now that we're applying a lot more fundamentals to our trading, it gets overwhelming, just like all the information.
Like, how do you
Right.
translate the fundamentals onto the technical side?
Okay.
Exactly. So one of the things in particular I wanted to ask you, Stephanos, because I don't remember if your background is finance or economics as per se, but one of the things I was going to ask you is what steps have you taken to get to this point of being able to, understand fundamentals as well as you do, and, translate it into the charts and so on?
I think like it goes for any subject. The more time you spend on it, the better you get at it. So the more articles you read and the more you keep yourself consumed with, really what's going on in the world, the more you educate yourself. And then you got something in an article where it's like, oh, I don't really understand what they're talking about here, right? And that's where you really become resourceful and try to figure out what exactly, just want to pause this and try to figure out, it's a nice setup I like here, trying to figure out what exactly that means. Right, trying to figure out what they're trying to say there, or what that economic data. Let me see where. So over here, if you go to Forex Factory, right, and you're taking a look, you're trying to figure out what prelim GDP actually means. Actually, going into these calendars can do you a lot of good. Also, setting up a database of what all the main ones. At least start with like the red folders. And just write down, like having that database and having different categories of what exactly you want to put down there, like notes, or what the frequency is, like how often this comes out, the usual effect, what normally happens when certain numbers come out, the measures, the notes over here, and then again going into the latest release, which is something I learned from Sharma, and learning from some of these economic websites from these governments and countries and just reading through some of these things, just spending the time and doing your own research is super important. But the one thing I wanted to say though, I've seen this a lot where traders get very consumed or confused, and just they're kind of all over the place when they're a trader in the market and they're still trying to master levels. They're still trying to master their technical analysis and wondering what setups they want to take, stuff like that. And they're trying to learn that at the same time as they're learning fundamentals and basic fundamentals and economics, right? And that gets them very flustered, where now you're seeing your perfect setup, but then all of a sudden the fundamentals, maybe you're not 100%
Not
about
lining
it.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're thinking one thing and it's really the opposite, and it really just flusters you out, and you got to take a step back to take two forward. So what I say to them is master one side of the market first, master the technicals, be able to know your setups inside and out, right? If someone pointed out a setup to you, you know exactly what pair that is, or you know when you would take that, or when you would take a certain setup during a session, or what day you would take that setup. Just knowing your pair inside and out that way, once you become fluent that way and you can break down a pair, the levels are perfect, all that stuff, then you could start spending some free time on fundamentals. But if you're getting too confused right now, just take a step back and focus on technicals for now, and just know the basics of like, okay, I obviously need to check an economic calendar no matter what before I trade. Just knowing what's going on. Other than that, focus on the technicals for now. That would be my suggestion.
I would
Okay.
definitely echo that because if you don't even have the technical side down, then it's going to be very difficult to pretty much get anything, like manage your trade whatsoever, right? Technical analysis tends to be the easiest one of all because you can like see it, visually see it. It's on your screen, right? You see what's happening in the market, and just, you know, reading the candle anatomy, because really the candle anatomy is going to be the same across time frames, across pairs, no matter what you're trading: gold, GBP, JPY, GBP, USD, US 30, whatever it is technically going to be the same thing majority of the time. So really focusing on that, and also with the technical analysis, also focus on your risk management. And then when you start learning about fundamentals and you start moving into that space, even if you're wrong, right? If you're trying to align fundamental analysis with technical analysis, even if you're wrong at that point, being able to use that confluence, at least you'll still have this understanding of how to manage your trade, right? And how to quickly get out of a losing trade, and being able to identify it from a technical perspective. And so now you know that, you know, I still have work to do on the fundamental side, but at least you'll have like the strong something to fall back on, and kind of understand like, how do I manage my trade right now so I don't go into huge losses.
Yeah. No, thanks for that. Makes sense. I'll say on the technicals, I'm quite comfortable. I think how I'm trying to apply the only two ways in which I apply fundamentals now as a start is, you know, knowing when to stay out the market, and knowing when to anticipate volume, and then also helping it to aid, you know, like scalp to swing straight trades, right?
Yeah.
Those are the only ways in which I'm really trying to use fundamentals right now. But as I learn more and become more comfortable, obviously then it becomes a different story. So yeah.
And that's where these back testing sessions, that's why, like, you know, I really want to do them at least on YouTube, like at least once a week or something like that. That's where these back testing sessions come in handy, because this will help you understand what are good fundamentals that you can trade before they come out, and what are some good fundamentals that you should probably wait until they come out and then trade the reaction. A lot of the times when we looked at NFP in the last year or 2 years, we try to trade NFP together on, you know, during a live session. That week, they're pretty good setups, right? But we tend to miss them out because everyone's kind of anticipating NFP. And then when NFP actually comes out and it's in the range of the previous versus the forecast, so we don't really beat it, but we don't miss it either. We're kind of in that range that we're expecting. The market doesn't react much to it. Now you're like, well, I just missed an entire week of trading, you know, anticipating that there would be big moves on NFP. So that's what the back testing session is going to help you do. Understand that, you know, when can you expect to take trades that week if there's a big news coming out, and when is it better to kind of sit back and watch the market do its thing until the big news comes out, and then you trade the reaction to it. So which one to trade, which one not to trade, which one really not to care about.
Gotcha.
Great
Thanks,
point.
guys.
Looking
I
at
would take the same trade here, Stephanos, with you.
oh yeah, you're looking at the same thing, huh?
Yeah.
See, I would have probably taken this, being that it's the beginning of the month or beginning of the week. It's Monday, and we have these rejections here, which make me a little uncomfortable. Right, this is something I'd lower my risk on. But what I would have done was maybe put my stop loss below this candle right here, like the body, not so much the wick. Like it doesn't have to be below that wick. If you get the bottom wick on this candle and it passes the high of that candle right there, that's probably a trade I might take, like an experimental trade, but you really lower your risk on something like that. But we were talking at the time. So right now, I'd really like to see this candle on the 1 hour holding support. Again, we get the close above with this candle. We come down all the way down into this area, grab liquidity, and reject this level again. This candle obviously respects that level with that wick, and now we're flipping bullish, about to pass the high of that wick right there. So do we have enough volume around 8 o'clock? Yes, right? For price to pass the high of that candle and us get a nice quick scalp with our stop loss below this candle. I want to see price take off from there and possibly push through this level right here.
That's true. Actually, can I see the news to see what we have coming out today real quick?
Yeah. Tomorrow or today?
Today in New York session.
Dude, Soft4fx sometimes, like if you like you ever minimize one of these, maybe it's just my computer, but minimizing one of these tabs, it's like impossible to open back up again.
No worries. So from a technical side, what I would do then is pretty much wait for the same thing, wait for price to continue pushing up. The reason why I kind of changed my mind right now is because if we go back to the 30-minute.
Here we go. So what do we have here?
Yeah, we don't have much coming out today, so yeah. But on the 30-minute, before you switch to the hourly, if we can go back to the 30 real quick. The reason why is because we've already had price kind of grab that liquidity from this candle, push back up, make that bottom wick. So if I were to take an entry, that means I would have to take an entry here and then place my stop loss a little bit wider. But really to the left, we've already had so many rejections into this zone. I can't even take partials here. It's too small of a zone. So I would rather wait for a proper break and retest here then.
You'd rather wait for a proper break and retest above this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Above that, or price if it wants to fake out or do whatever, but come back and kind of respect this area again, given that we have a ton of liquidity every time price taps into this area. And then same thing here, massive push up.
15 minutes. All right, let's play this through, see if it works out.
How's it going, Tony?
Tony. So the best thing here is if you don't want to take something like that and you'd rather wait for this candle to close, which might be the smarter move, maybe wait for this candle to close, bottom wick formed, passing the high. If this level wasn't here, I'd be in that all day, right? I might even be in this impulse trade like I was talking about. But, it's only Monday. You don't have to jump in any trades. You don't have to get FOMO. Who's the visitor? That was in here that was talking about struggling with FOMO here. I was giving you a few examples of like the different kinds of FOMO that you could be getting and which ones are valid and which ones you don't need to be getting. Because what I'm trying to get to is like you're gonna miss trades. Especially if you're a disciplined trader, there's going to be trades that get away from you, but that's okay. It's the same thing as any other business. You're going to have deals that just fall apart, or they end up you just get this gut feeling about these deals, and you just don't want to be a part of them, and they just take off, and someone turns 50 grand into 2.5 million or something like that. That's a crazy example, but that's going to happen in your career. And it's the same thing with trades. They just happen a lot more often. All right, so there's going to be times the train leaves without you, but you got to be able to learn from those, go back, journal it, see how you could have caught it, right? And then catch it next time.
100%.
Or maybe not even next time, right? If you're going to get pretty frustrated with yourself if you see it, you journal it, you learn from it, and then the next time it pops up, you don't take it again. Understand that maybe you need to see it a few more times, 3, 4 times, and then you start executing on it. Then you start implementing into your trading plan or back testing it to see how often it plays out.
You know, like how I deal with that is like I tell myself, like one trade is not going to make me rich, so the opportunity cost of missing that trade isn't actually that high.
Yep.
There you go. What makes you rich?
Patience.
All right. There's one more thing that starts with an R.
Sorry, what?
There's one more thing that starts with an R. It's 2 words. R and N.
Risk management.
There you go.
Concentrating on keeping your profits instead of experimenting in the market all day.
And I'm like really serious about that because no matter what you do, whether it's trading or you're doing anything else, like I do trading, I have like real estate going on as well. You know, there's a lot of different things. I also work with like venture capitalists and like angel investors and stuff like that. Everything is really about risk management. You know, if I have a deal that comes in like a real estate deal and I'm like working with other investors who may be, you know, better, like that deal is probably better suited for them compared to what I want to do. Everything is about risk management. How's the market going to be, you know, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, given that that's the typical time that it takes to kind of flip a house. And if those numbers don't line up and they feel like there's too much risk for them, like, you know, there's not enough profit for them and then they don't want to be part of that deal. And that fear kind of changes depending on the market conditions too, right? Everything is about risk management. If you can't really manage your risk, if you can't manage your capital, preserve your capital, you know, you're really not going to make it far when it comes down to finances.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something like lost my train of thought. There's gonna be FOMO either way. So like you could get FOMO missing out on trades like this, but if you just don't get FOMO doing that by taking every single thing that you see, you're gonna end up in drawdown pretty quickly, and you're gonna get a lot of FOMO from other traders, knowing that you got friends in the market and stuff like that that are making profits consistently. You're gonna have FOMO that way too.
For sure.
Right, you're gonna have that social FOMO, so that's gonna hurt you a lot more than missing a couple trades here and there.
Can we drop down to the 30-minute time frame real quick?
So that was a nice close with a wick to fill.
I would want to see how this 30-minute closes. If it still closes below that zone, the chances are that in a live market, I would be done with New York session, probably come back in Asian, you know, do like a trade breakdown or something and look for trade opportunities then. The reason why is because we've already grabbed that liquidity from that, you know, 30-minute time frame with that bottom wick rejection. So this is your 15-minute, but this is what your 30-minute time frame would look like right here. So that liquidity grab right on this candle.
Sorry, do you want the 30-minute or 15?
This is fine.
Sorry.
So on the 30-minute time frame, you grab that liquidity, continued pushing. We try to break the previous highs, but we still came back and closed below the zone. So really what I'm saying is if I were to narrow in my zone even more, particularly, I would say like anything in this area is where all that consolidation is really happening, right? Where there's a lot of liquidity grab and things like that, but we're not really continuing bullish from here. So there's a very high chance that with this next 30-minute candle, which is going to close in like 5 minutes, if we're not able to break this high and at least close in this zone, there's a very high chance that we could just come back and end up consolidating or maybe even come back deeper into this area. That just shows me that there's lack of volume to continue pushing. So I would just pretty much call it a no trade day and then come back in Asian session. Yeah, so see how it closed, where it closed with some volume, but we didn't close in the zone and we didn't even break the previous high. So that would give me indications of a no trade day.
I could see the pullback over here happening. Speed this over this a little bit. Back to the 1 hour. So the 1 hour did close a strong bullish candle over here. So I'd be interested if we did come down and create a little wick over here, respecting this area, flipping bullish. If you did have a lot of volume, this is a Tuesday or Wednesday. I could see that playing out where we pass the high of that candle and you mirror this move to the left. But right now we don't have that much volume, and they're expecting CPI. So I'm sure with inflation being the main talk around this time, you got a lot of people anticipating that data.
100%.
Hey VJ, can you just repeat what you said about the no, like what the indication of the no trade day was for you?
For sure. So based off the 30-minute time frame, first of all, let me take a step back. So you have this entire consolidation area, right? Right into these areas. We've had consolidation into this area as well. So now what pretty much price has done is that we got a nice bullish push up, rejected right into that zone, came back and created a support. Now this 30-minute candle grabbed that liquidity and continued pushing up, which is a good thing. But all we were able to do really was tap into this area. That's it. After that, this 30-minute candle closed, back down bullish. It has some volume, but it rejected that area and came back and closed into this zone that we have forming. The following candle, gave us some volume. This was the first hour of New York session, but it failed to continue pushing and breaking this previous high that was formed here. So when that closed, that gave me indications that there's a very high chance that we probably won't be able to continue above this zone, and that we're just going to probably end up consolidating out for the rest of New York session, and maybe we'll have to come back in Asian.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Traps a lot of people.
Thanks.
Yeah, for sure. Are we towards the end of New York session here?
Yeah. This is 9:45.
Okay.
So the stock exchange just opened. We can fast forward. We'll do Tuesday's New York session. So I want to see what CPI came out at.
CPI is not here yet. CPI is on the 15th.
Oh, Phil, yeah. What am I talking about? I feel like I just saw this and I was like, oh, did that just come out?
No, CPI is on the 15th. So we're still on the 13th here. Shows.
Yep. We'll go through Asian. So far, still holding those higher lows on Asian. All right. We finally broke out of that area during late Asian over here. Got the close above.
Yeah. Here, if I got a break and retest here, like if the next candle makes a bottom wick and continues pushing, I would take an entry here.
Absolutely. Let's see if that plays out. Nice. Got the close right here. This candle had no bottom wick on the 30-minute, but we did hold a nice support right here on the 15-minute bullish candle close. And price, you had the clean move to the left on the 30-minute here to continue up. So let's see if that does continue.
Can we check the hourly real quick?
Sure. So hourly closed above, filled the wick up here. We ended up rejecting this whole area right here. Right. And if you go to the lower time frame here, you got this previous support to the left here. The price is now rejecting. So now maybe you're getting that proper retest of this area to possibly continue up with London and New York volume. We shall see. So we got 3 more hours. Price pushing up with London volume. See how much different that is than Asian?
Yep.
Most of the time. All right. So now that we're looking at the daily over here, this is again 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday now. We ended up getting that strong bullish candle. We're now filling that wick, and we did fill the wick, and we're pushing up again towards that 153, 100 level over here to the left. Just so now we ended up coming back up to that support, which we marked off to the left over here. Previous resistance. We closed above. Nice clean close. Can we hold this as a support? Clean move to the left. Coming right back up into this area. How many pips do we have in this area? Got about 50 pips.
Could you also check how many hours are we away from news?
Yes.
About an hour away. Okay.
Yeah. We got some US CPI news coming out.
All right.
Just that. So let's see if we can hold the support here. This candle ended up coming down. No bottom wick. This candle closed a weak bearish candle over here. So can we hold or close like a strong bullish candle here on the 30-minute or the weekly? 30-minute looks a little messy. It looked like we tried to hold support and then we came right back down to this area. So we got to see how that ends up playing out here. Let me just clone this. So it looks a little bit better here. There you go.
What I would also do is adjust one of these lower zones so you don't have to create like a new one, but I would create another resistance up top here. There are multiple 30-minute candles that fail to break that high.
Saying like this.
Yeah.
So,
So what I would want to see here is pretty much, price has been pushing up bullish. We're able to kind of figure that out. But I would also adjust this lower zone here. Given like it's a new day, you'll probably create new zones. New levels have been formed, but I would put it right there. And the reason why is because when you're looking at the structure, I mean, it's bullish structure and everything. Yeah. Price created this higher low. We continue breaking above this, came back and created the support. Now we're pushing up bullish from here, created a new high. What I want to see happening here now is price again holding on to a support and then continue breaking the highs and give us a nice break and retest, or like, if news comes out, maybe an impulse trade or something. But if price rejects this again and it continues breaking, then I think we could look for potential sells at this point too. Maybe to come back and revisit into this area where price consolidated for some time.
yeah, that's a great point. Normally, like if we're coming to the charts, it's a new day, you'd be erasing everything and drawing everything back up again. So
Yeah.
these are definitely all the correct levels that we'd be marking off here. That previous support, where if we got that close below here, we could continue down. All right, so 30-minute candle just closed. Just gonna pause this. So nice 30-minute candle closed. Let me just scale this. Now, what I want is a top or bottom wick formed first before I'm going to take anything. Wow. Really scaled that one.
I have a quick question for you guys.
Yes.
When you guys are,
I had a question. Funny.
do you think it's just as important to clear the charts when you're like swing trading, for example, and like you're still waiting for primarily higher time frame levels to be broken, and they're not gonna I guess change as quickly? Do you still think it's just as important to clear your charts on a daily basis?
Always.
For swing trading, regardless of whatever trading that you do, I think it's very important if you're taking trades based off the hourly time frame or 4-hour time frame to always clean out your charts and look at the new levels. But if you're only entering, let's say, based off the daily time frame, and that's like your main confluence, then I don't think you need to update it every single day, but I would update it like every 2 to 3 days as new levels are being formed.
I would
That makes sense.
one thing that I do, Miles, is like you'll always, not always, but mostly always see my monthly levels marked off as a scalper. Like you don't always need to clear those, but like anything from the weekly or the daily down to the 30-minute is all gets cleared out every single day. But you have trading GJ, I always have 156, 148 or 149. Let's say 160, 161 right now. Some of these levels marked off just as horizontal lines, not zones per se.
Gotcha.
But it gets you better, dude. And like we talked about today, like the better you are at marking off your charts, the higher your win rate's going to be. Because if you're taking trades based off the wrong chart, you're going to be losing some trades that you shouldn't be. So it's a skill set. And if you look at it real specifically, it's like an art form being able to do this. I know people get crazy with all these like, oh, it's an art, but like in a way it is.
Stefanos, how can you see which ones are your like monthly zones if they're all the same color?
What do you mean?
Like you say how you leave on your monthly zones and your weekly zones and stuff. How can you do it?
I just use them as horizontal lines. So I mark off and with a trend line as well, but I just use horizontal lines on the monthly, and I know exactly what those levels are. And then anywhere from the daily to the 30-minute and the 15-minute is all zones, like actual rectangles. Get what I'm saying?
Okay. I color code mine, so
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, I know people do that with the daily, the 4 hour zones and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like that makes sense. Now you're maybe wondering why I'm not in this right now is because this didn't create a bottom wick, right? We just took off on the 30-minute out of nowhere. So what I would rather do is wait for a close above this resistance, maybe a little retest or a bottom wick rejection, and then we could take that up. But that's against my rules. So again, there's going to be times where you get FOMO and price just takes off without you. But if you're looking at probabilities, most of the time this doesn't play out or it comes up here, and then we end up, rejecting this whole area and closing below that level again. And
Did
people,
CPI come out already? Sorry to cut you off.
no, CPI will come out in 2 hours probably. Yeah,
17 minutes. No?
no, right here,
Oh, okay.
16:30, which is going to be 9:30. Or is that 9:30? Should be 9:30. Yeah. So 1500 is 8 a.m. 1600 is 9 a.m. So 9:30.
Cool.
That's weird. That normally comes out around 8:30 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that threw me off. All right. So yeah, 2 hours.
Perfect. I would probably wait until then.
Yeah.
But I would watch these levels. I mean, I probably wouldn't be up at this time anyways. It'd probably 3, 4 a.m. my time. But I would probably be looking at these levels just to adjust the zones if need be.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's definitely opportunity for you to take before that news comes out. Like if we got that bottom wick and we started passing the high over here of these wicks and everything, I'd probably be in this right now. Right. But we didn't. And it's better, again, no bottom wick. Okay, we got news coming out in 2 hours. I'm just going to sit back and wait. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll see my trade last Friday. I took on gold. It was a premature sell. The direction was completely on point, but right before NFP, we got a nice pullback before continuing down. So I thought, again, we were closing below that area. I think it was a bad trade, to be honest with you. The more you look at it, the more you study your previous trades, the more you start to realize this stuff and start to I say it all the time, but you could go back in your journal, and if you've really been putting work in, you'll notice trades 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, maybe even a week, that you've looked over a few other times and you're just like, what was I even doing? Like, why did I take that trade? Right. So especially in the beginning of your career, like the beginning of my career, I was doing that a lot. Now it's like, my trades make a lot more sense to me now. There's still corrections. There's always going to be corrections and always things you can do better or more money you can make or more percentage you can make. But, in the beginning of your career, don't be surprised if you're always studying your previous trades and being like, damn, like, what the fuck, what was I even thinking? And that adds confidence. I know it sounds counterproductive because, you're losing confidence by looking at previous trades like that and saying, what was I doing? But you realize 2 weeks later how much better of a trader you are, how much better your eyes are. And as long as you could stomach that and swallow your pride a little bit, you're going to get better from it.
I mean, the faster you learn to swallow your pride, the better it is because the markets will humble you really quick.
If you got ego in this game, it'll test you real quick.
100%. I would adjust this zone up top here, seeing that now price is kind of creating a resistance here.
Sure.
And breaking the lows. And I would keep the support right at this level.
And now for me personally, I would actually keep it there until later, until maybe we started breaking this level again. Like if we started coming back above this area, then I would move it back up here because safe buys are going to be up there. But if we have this level and we get the close below, I'm looking for some kind of a retest of that level if this range is big enough where now we may have a fake out to continue down. I wouldn't really be taking it in here, but if we got the close below this level right here, right, that would tell me that, okay, we just got the fake out up here. There's a high chance that we could continue right back down here.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I would keep that there, but that makes complete sense, just moving it there because now you have safe buys above this level.
Yeah, and also the reason is because you have about 2 hours until CPI comes out.
That's true.
And the market's already consolidating, right? If you had any move, it would have been in London session, it would have been right here. That would have been your move up, right? With the bottom weight projection, take an entry, impulse entry, going up, maybe creating new highs. But now it's starting to seem like, we have market sentiment pretty much getting ready for CPI data. All this consolidation, consolidation means you're grabbing liquidity, you're generating liquidity, but also, just the ranging market itself tells you that there's indecision in the market.
1000%.
You want to move the trades thing to the side? It's right in the middle of the screen here for the candles.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Good point. Would help. Anybody see that new Elvis movie that just came out?
I haven't yet, but I know we were talking about it.
It's it just came out. You're able to like buy it, and you can still see it in the theater, but we ended up getting it, and it's like this kid's gonna win Best Actor.
You think so?
100%. Like watch the movie, you're gonna be like, holy shit. Like that, I've never seen that before. You're gonna probably say that.
Who
I gotta
stars
watch
in it?
Tom Hanks is his manager, Colonel Parker, and Austin Butler plays Elvis.
Oh.
But the cool part is, and what I always study, you may see my Instagram every now and then, putting up like different greats like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods or all these different people. And I've always appreciated the greats in anything. I honestly think Elvis is the greatest entertainer of all time. But the amount of work that this kid put in, if you listen to like interviews or whatever, he locked himself in a room or in his apartment during COVID for 6 months and did nothing but study this and practice and practice. And I appreciate hard work like that. So seeing what came out of that is unbelievable. That's why it's not so much the movie, but the acting out of it. Like if he doesn't win Best Actor, I don't know who would. If you watch it, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You'll be like, that's insane.
It's pretty cool.
We got like an hour left until news.
Yep.
All right.
So we're just patiently waiting. I could speed this up a little bit too.
And what are we expecting the data to come out to?
Yes, let's give it a check. Yeah, so they're expecting CPI to lower by 0.1% over here from the previous. So we'll see if that actually ends up happening.
So if it's basically like the way that I interpret like this type of data, previous versus forecast, is if we come out anywhere at like 0.5% or 0.4%, the market's already pricing that in. That's not something that I would be too worried about. But if it comes down to like, 0.7% or like 0.8%, a little bit higher, I think the market would react more heavily to that. Or if it comes down anything lower than 0.4, I think the market would react heavily to that.
Mm-hmm.
So Vijay, why do you say the mark, if it was like around the 0.4 mark, why do you say the market would have priced that in? Like, what's the logic?
That's what we're anticipating for it to come out to, right? So remember, like, there's not only technical traders, so there's fundamental and market sentiment traders. So the market sentiment here, according to what the forecast here is for the economic data, is that eventually they're expecting inflation to slow down on the consumer side. So that would create a little bit more optimism for the pound here. Right, or equities in general, even though it's like USD CPI, you would apply that same exact thing to GBP CPI, which is going to come out later tomorrow, I think. Here, yeah. So where they're expecting an increase, if it were to drop down, they would pretty much right at this point. This one is what I'm talking about. So if it were to drop down, then that's a decrease in inflation, which is a good thing, right? And for risk currencies in general. So that's kind of what we're pricing in right now. But if the number were to come out, right now for CPI, if it were to come out anything higher than like I would say 0.6, I would give it that little bit of room. If it comes out anything higher than 0.6, it comes down to 0.7, 0.8, anything like that, then I would expect the market to react heavily to that because that's not something that we're expecting. We're expecting the opposite. We're expecting inflation to calm down.
Okay. That makes sense.
All great points. I just want to zoom out over here and see what we got over here to the left. We got about 6 minutes left. 5 minutes left here.
You want to pause this real quick just so we can break down the candle anatomy right before the news comes out?
Of course. Let's see. Okay, so fairly clean move. You do have this little area right here. I'm not going to keep that there, but that's kind of what we're rejecting. That previous resistance, previous support over here, right? Price is rejecting that right now. And again, they could be pricing that in right now when it comes to the inflation, but we'll see how this ends up coming out. But let's break down the anatomy.
Yeah, if we want to drop down to the 5-minute time frame since it is CPI.
Yep.
5 minute and 15 minutes is really what I want to go over.
A sweet spot. Okay.
Let's start off with the 15 and then we'll drop down.
Sure.
Okay, so now if I'm looking at these zones, same thing. So what I would do is actually adjust it a little bit higher up top here. What I'm going to say is, sorry.
Just trying to adjust that for you.
So create the zone up top here, and then what I would want to see is if we are to continue pushing up bullish, I'll give price enough room to create like any, massive wick rejections that we're usually used to when there's like high impact data coming out. So price can come down and eventually, create a massive bottom wick and then continue pushing back up bullish. But if price does break the previous 15-minute low and continues pushing below this area, I would be looking for potential sell opportunities. And now if we drop down to the 5-minute time frame real quick. All right, so now on the 5-minute time frame, again, we're holding on to a nice resistance here. And then same thing, I want to see price, I'll give price enough room to kind of break out of this consolidation and come back and make those bottom wick rejections, because 5-minute time frame is really not that strong of a confirmation, but sometimes you can take like nice scalp opportunities or even swing trade opportunities when there's high impact news coming up. So I will give price enough room to come back and tap into this area, grab liquidity if it wants to, and then continue pushing up from here. But other than that, this would be pretty much my range of like a no trade range right here. If price continues pushing up bullish from here and I see that volume, then I'll look for a buy. But if there's going to be any sells, depending on how the data comes out in like a couple of minutes, then we can look for sells below this.
Absolutely. All right, so let's see how this comes out. We can slow it down a little bit. Yeah, I see the same thing. Price is kind of like grabbing liquidity in this whole range right here.
Yeah.
And then, taking off if need be.
And can we pull up the news too, just so we can see the data? All right, so if CPI comes out any higher than 0.6%, I would expect to look for some sells.
Comes out a lot faster on here than it does Forex Factor. All right, so just slow that down a little bit.
They'll probably get their data from Financial Juice.
Yeah. Yeah, right. The Bloomberg terminal. All right, 20 seconds. And again, we trade the reaction to the news, not only in the live market, but on the simulator too.
Absolutely.
I'll wait for it to come out.
All right, the data came out. What was it? A 0.3.
3. Nice, 0.3%.
Yeah.
So it's not too far off, right? The previous was 0.5%, then 0.4%, and then it dropped even more over here. And again, this is a time they were expecting a lot of inflation in the U.S. So again, it's this is pretty much good at this time.
Yeah.
Any time in the last 2 years when you get lower than expected CPI, that's a good thing.
That's why I like to give it that little margin of like, 0.1% high or low. And then after that, look for potential trade opportunities. So when you're looking at this, we were already expecting inflation to calm down. And that's what I mean by, pricing that in, the market pricing that in, the entire push up. And now that's exactly what you're seeing happen here for the first 5 minutes or so. There's like, that indecision, breaking highs and lows, wick rejections. That's usually what we tend to see when CPI comes out. So we're pretty much in the range of what we're forecasting.
Yep. No big
And now we
surprise.
just wait for candles to close. So this candle could close right into the zone and the next one takes you right back up, right? And that would be your potential buy opportunity. Or this candle closes right into the zone and the next one takes you right back down. And that could be a potential sell opportunity.
Yep. You sure you can't hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's so loud for me, so it's
You probably on your Zoom, you probably have your noise cancellation on.
sensitivity low.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the 30-minute over here again. Multiple rejections. You got a top wick on this 30-minute candle, past the low. So right now we're in this big range pretty much. We'll keep this here for the lower time frames after news, and obviously this is a main level as well that we ended up faking out. But we held this support here. Strong bullish candles pushing up into this area. But again, that 800 level ended up rejecting again. So can we hold support to continue back up? 15-minute. You guys see, we're still just studying the candle bodies and previous price action here, still getting higher lows formed, higher highs formed. All right. So it's difficult to sell in these areas. I think you'll have safer sells below this area. Maybe depending on the price action, can you get something like that? You got to measure the range, which I don't think we have too much volume. Yeah, it's only 13 pips. So I wouldn't be taking that right there. What I would be taking is this for about 20, 25. Yeah, it's about 20 to 25 pips right there. You could possibly grab that. But again, you're really looking for liquidity grabs before price continues back up. Because again, this is why you always want to check the higher time frames and go back. That's another thing that's in our checklist as far as taking a trade, the entry criteria. You want to go back really quickly and look at these dailies. Look at the 4 hour, right? Quick glance, right? Now the 4 hour looks interesting because we created this high here. Can we be?
Right, you want to pause this real quick, Stefanos?
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can we be coming down into this area, holding support, and then continuing back up to retest these highs?
All right, perfect. You want to drop down to the 15-minute time frames? All right, 30 minutes kind of breaking the low.
Yeah.
15 minutes, the way that I see it now, is prices holding on to a strong resistance. We're breaking the lows. This 15-minute candle closed with a lot of bearish volume. Nice top wick. The next one's breaking the lows. So if we can see this candle pushing its own lows, this is again reaction to the news. We had the first 5-minute candle close after the news came out. So I do want to see the following candle take us right back down. Can we drop down to the 5-minute to see if there was? All right. Yeah, perfect. So this candle again rejecting, and then right now, I want to see how this 5-minute candle closes. If the next one can take us down, I would take that opportunity.
Okay. This out. Good speech.
Sorry to cut you off there. I saw price moving, and I was like, "That's the zone."
Absolutely. Coming back into that area we were talking about.
Yep. Essentially, the point being of like doing these simulation sessions is so you guys can see how the same exact price action applies to regardless of the time frame. You could probably do the same thing on the 1-minute time frame. I personally don't trade off the 1-minute time frame. Lowest I would go is 5-minute, and that's also when high impact news comes out. But you would do the same thing on the monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, whatever time frame that you trade. Just narrow in into your zones and understand what's happening within those zones. All right, we got a couple of seconds until this 5-minute closes. Let's see.
Okay.
All right, so that's 5-minute breaking its own low. So as soon as this candle breaks that low right here, I would get into that trade.
Okay. I think you meant its own low.
Yeah. And this is also going to be a 15-minute close, I believe. All right, I would take an entry here, Stephanos. I'm
Okay.
going with 1%.
Stop loss.
Can we go into the 15 for that? Okay, so yeah, I'll place it right there. Perfect. And then TP, let's target this here and take partials into this zone.
Okay.
And I would, remove my TP or just the TP or whatever after I've taken partials and I see where is price headed.
Okay. Sounds good.
Does everyone understand this entry? Why was it taken? Stop loss and everything like that. And of course, if there's anyone else who wants to take an entry with us, let us know.
Looking at this area too, if you're just understanding price action here, got this high created, consolidation above the area, working back into the range, right? And now that creates a fake out and price continuing back down. So that gives you the momentum, obviously after the data coming out too, to push us down as well.
Mm-hmm.
15 is
And
going to be
BJ,
close.
it seems like. Sorry, Steph. I was
No,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
say, it seems like usually when you trade the fundamentals, or like the news releases, it doesn't seem like you try to predict too much which direction price will go, and you put more emphasis on the price action and what the candles are actually telling you. Is
Yes.
that something that, because I feel like that's something that maybe confuses me sometimes, is just trying to predict where price should or shouldn't go. And so I guess, is that just like your main, maybe not formula, but like something that you try and stick to, is just let the candles, like in high impact news, let the candles tell you which direction price is going to go when you're trading the reaction, rather than try and figure out if it should go up or should go down or whatever based on the actual data that was released?
You nailed it. My job as a trader, as a retail trader specifically, is not to determine the direction. Me putting in whatever 1%, 2% of my account is not going to move the markets. My job as a trader is just to follow along with the structure that's being provided onto the charts. And so I use the fundamentals to understand what's the market sentiment going to be like. And then that market sentiment is then reflected onto the charts. So sometimes that's why we say that, there's fundamental traders and market sentiment traders. Sometimes those fundamentals will be priced in. That's exactly what happened when you look at, this massive push up from this zone previously, where the market will already price that in from here going all the way up. And then you consolidate out, the market sentiment here was again indecision, getting so close up to the news release, and then you let the market do its thing. Wherever it's headed, you just wait for the confirmations.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, for sure.
It's looking nice.
Yes, sir. We can also check higher time frames, what's happening on the 30-minute, 15-minute.
To the 1 hour. 1 hour's coming right back down to that support.
Yeah.
Is this the area you wanted to take profit, or not take profit, but yeah, take profit?
Yeah, as soon as price hike kind of breaks below that area, I'll take some partials.
Okay.
Or like even taps into it, because essentially what I'm trying to look for is, can price just tap into it like it did previously? So yeah, there you go. So I'm going to close out. How much do we have? 17 cents. I'll close out about 35%.
All
There
right.
you go.
Stop loss.
Move to break even, please.
Sure.
And then TP, I'll move it down to the next gray zone that we have, because now that zone, break of that zone is also indicating a break of the hourly consolidation. So below that, the next gray zone that you have down.
Right here.
Yep.
All right. Beautiful.
And I would actually also scale in if price does come back up
Okay.
into this area. If only if it comes back up into that zone, I would look for a scale in.
Yep. These are your
But
profits.
yeah, but if price just continues pushing down, then I'm okay with it. I would just wait for another retest some other time.
Let's go back to the time frames. was due for a pullback, as you guys could see. So it kind of like priced that in maybe.
Mm-hmm.
They were expecting a drop in CPI, right? So price, we actually got this recently where price kind of like slowly chugged its way up, and then all of a sudden news came out, and then we dropped. Great move.
Once price taps into the next gray zone, I'll take off another 15%, so that closes off 50% of my trade.
Okay.
So we have massive seller's pressure going on right now. What is the range between this bottom wick and this zone?
10 pips.
No, it's not worth it.
To scale in, yeah.
Yeah, it's not worth it for another, impulse trade. I would still wait. I would see if price, ends up coming back. Sorry. I would wait until price comes back into this zone here anywhere.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's
Yeah.
what I would be doing.
Yeah.
As far as like trading the reaction to the news, just kind of like waiting for my setup in that area. And again, you guys saw that on NFP, you saw that on CPI. How you were able to get like if you missed the move, just wait for your setups on some of the higher time frames, and then just follow the volume, that's coming out later on after the news comes out.
100%. Yeah, adjusted the stop loss to break even.
Yeah, it's right up.
All right, so in this zone here, Stefanos, I'm going to close out another 15%. So then I have a total of 50% of my trade closed out. So 15, 1-5.
I get you.
And then I'm going to go ahead and trail my stop loss here, right at this level. So what I'm going to do is give price enough room to come back and correct this move if it wants to, prior to continuing back down, anticipating still another retest since it was a heavy seller's pressure, but also, seeing how price has created, support resistance areas into this level. So essentially this trade is now risk-free. I've already closed out 50%, now there's 50% running.
Yep. Worst case scenario, you make more money.
Yep. Can we hop up to the 15, please?
Yes.
Okay. Nice sell-off.
Price is dropping. Can you show the 4 hour? Absolutely. The 4 hours is dropping. Again, it was due for a little pullback. As you guys can see, it happens. Get this high created. We come back down, create a new high, come right back down to this area, hard pullback right here, right? And then we push up to create a new high. Hard pullback, possibly push up to create a new high.
Does anyone on YouTube have any questions about this entry, this trade, or the thought process or anything?
Beautiful trade. So the 1 hour just closed. Again, very strong candle. This candle has no bottom, no top wick, just completely continued down, passing the low. A lot of momentum.
All right, let's see if we can get the rejection, some sort of a pullback. So here, given that there's a massive seller's pressure, it doesn't make sense to hop into another impulse entry. So now we have to wait for some sort of break and retest, or at least, a pullback, retracement, and then a continuation down. All right, you want to skip through because
Yeah.
we're coming up to like an hour and a half almost.
You want to skip to what? What would you like to?
Skip through the candles to see if we see any sort of potential setup.
Okay. Skip the 5 minute here. All right. Strong 5 minute candle close right there. Next one, past the low right away. So this could be the continuation of that move.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me adjust the zone. I think let's get rid of all this shit. We have our most recent support right in this area right here. I feel like you could just draw it like that, and you want to kind of clear out of that area, coming back down to this support. If that's what you're looking for, three very strong 15-minute candles over here closing. 5 minute. 5 minutes kind of stalling out in this area. Clone that.
Yeah. Usually I would be done using the 5 minute time frame after like 30 minutes after news has come out.
Yeah.
Because really you don't have any other catalyst to move, right? The market open has already happened. The news has already come out. We don't have anything for another 9 hours when it comes to news.
Yeah.
Tony said he really needs to get that software. TradingView is cool, but backtesting could help much better. But yeah, I love this software. I think Stefan's, you got me onto it.
What's Soft4fx?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. It's. I was telling Miles today. I was saying like I might as well have created the software with how much I was promoting it. I a lot of my success and confidence in the market comes from this simulator alone. Like it's the amount I was doing. I was doing like 6 sessions a day easily on.
It's very, very helpful. Like, if you want to figure out what sessions to kind of trade into, it has a sessions little button too that you can check out. The news, everything's on here.
Yep. That's the best. This is a nice little setup coming back down over here.
Yep.
It's the 5 minute, 15 minute. Created that top wick, passing the low over here. I kind of let Sean, I let you take the reins on this one. I was like, you know what? Give her all the attention. We're not going to enter anyone. I think that was a great trade right here. Just capitalized from right up here, right? Understood the little fake out up here, understood the news, waited for what you wanted for. Right here with this setup, and you just executed. It's great.
Now that we're breaking below that zone, I'm gonna go ahead and trail my stop loss.
Okay, let me
trail it right here. Here we go. Just a straight sell happening.
It's outrageous.
Yeah.
Now, why up here? Just giving it some room.
Yeah, giving it room for any retest or anything like that. Specifically, also because price is coming right back into this specific consolidation area. So I want to see, can we end up, reacting off of this area that's making a bottom wick in, and then, push right back up or anything like that? Or are we going to go straight to TP?
Love it. It's the 15 minutes. So I'm just going to zoom in right here. Look at this area right here as well. Possibly get that rejection off of, and then they get a clean move right here to the low.
Hopefully, all of this makes sense for you guys. If not, just let us know and we'd be happy to explain it again. Where are we in the session?
We are what is this? 10:30.
Okay.
You got a lot of volume around 10:30. Yep.
So we have about an hour and a half until London closes.
Gonna speed this up a little bit. It's dropping. Damn. There you go.
Straight to TP.
Well done.
All right. So that was a total of what, 5% equity increase?
5%. Yep.
Okay.
It's
Off of a 1%
off of
trade.
1%. 5-1.
Yes. So you guys do not have to overtrade or over risk. Keep it between that 1 to 3%.
Probably pause that. So does anyone have any questions on that?
Nothing here. All right. Well, if there's no questions, or actually, do you have a set of candle formations you use for entry or more depending on market structure? It's a combination of them. Mostly I want to see, support resistance. Is price holding on to a resistance or is it holding on to a support? And are we able to break through the structure? So if we go onto the 30-minute time frame real quick for this, Stefanos, please. So, within structure, there's always going to be structure depending on different time frames. They're always going to have, there are different structures here. So let's say, for example, you got that last low that was being formed here, and then you got a nice bullish push up. Where is really the break of your structure? Sorry about that. But really the break of your structure is at this point, right? And then you look for your confirmations. Where does it make sense for you to take a sell? We saw that there was already heavy sellers pressure going on. How do you confirm that? Let me actually draw this out. So let's say, for example, price makes a top wick, right? Comes back down, and then it ends up making a wick somewhere here on the bottom, right? Something like this. Not the best drawing, but something like that, right? So that tells me that somewhere down here, price rejected a price level, and then it came back up, and this is kind of where it's hanging out at, right? If to test the volume here, now I want to see price breaking its own low, which means like continue pushing down and test a new price level at a lower level. And then if price does that and it continues fluctuating and, creating more bottom wicks and it continues filling its own wicks and continues pushing, that tells me that there's a lot of volume. And so in a scenario like that, where there's high impact news coming out, which is CPI in this case, then you would potentially look for impulse trade. But, we're going to break all this stuff down in our boot camp anyways. So if that's something that you're really struggling with, then you can, join the boot camp with us next Saturday.
Looking forward to that.
All right. Hopefully, did that answer your question, Tony? And then while I'm waiting for Tony's response, I hope you guys enjoyed the simulation session. We're going to try to do at least one of these every week. So it's helpful on YouTube. And then also a quick reminder, the signups for the bootcamp are closing out tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST. So, payments and things like that, it's all due tomorrow at 5 p.m. PST. The boot camp is the following Saturday, so on the 20th, and it's going to start at 7 a.m. PST, which is 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to go through, all the basics of Forex. We're going to go through like a simulation session at the end, like we are right now. And we're going to break down the entire candle anatomy for you guys. We're going to break down like, how to take entries, how to manage your risk, all that fundamental analysis strategies. So basically the point is by the time you guys are done with this 3-hour boot camp, that you can apply all of that in the following week. And you are going to have a recording of it too at the end, sent to the email that you used to sign up for the boot camp. But other than that, I hope that you guys were able to get some value out of today's session.
Yes, absolutely. It was a pleasure
Yes,
having you guys on. I think it was a great session. I'm sorry, did someone want to say something?
No. It's a great session, guys. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for joining, guys. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great one, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Absolutely.
You too. Bye-bye.